Hey everybody, it's Sarah Paikai and Jennifer Kim here in this Unicorn Team video series. If you have not done so yet, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, check out all the videos in the playlist because we are talking about some amazing things that we have earned our stripes, hard-earned over the years, and we're hoping that it will help so many more of you all. So this video is about the Strategizer.
My favorite!
Dun, 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 dun. So, starting question, what's a Strategizer?
Okay, now you're probably like, why is this your favorite? Because by trade, I am a master strategizer.
Cha-ching! Just big money symbols right here.
So the strategizer is the money, they understand where the money is. They understand what the market wants,
Yes.
and they understand how to develop touch points that lead to offers that turn into money, okay? And so they can look like people who say they're, paid ads strategists in companies like a Facebook ads company. They can look like brand strategist. They can look like a funnel builder, and all of those actually, if they are a funnel builder or Facebook ads team, they actually fit into the mobilizer role. They're operating off of a strategy. Okay. So a true strategizer is somebody who understands the brand and builds a strategic plan, a strategic tactical plan to get it done. And then works with the Visionizer and the mobilizer to translate all of the lexicon and confusion, because most Visionizers are actually not good at marketing. Mm-hmm. They want to be, but they're not, and they're forced to become good marketers. And so they take all these classes and get marketing coaches and whatever.
Confusion's off.
And I'm like, yes, they buy expensive tech, like confusion's off, all the things. And a Visionizer's job is not to be the marketer. In the beginning, you have to be both. Mm-hmm. So for example, in my company, I am really good at being the strategizer, but ultimately I have to remind myself I'm the Visionizer. And so I have to have other strategizers or a strategizer around us to help facilitate the translation of the vision into the mobilization. The strategizer is the hardest role to recruit.
Yes, it sounds a little ethereal, but also tactical at the same time. There's
yes,
a lot of dichotomy,
it's both.
Like in that
they're
position.
Creative and they're data driven, and so they are actually kind of a unicorn. Mm-hmm. In fact, in the corporate world, when this was my team. I ran strategizer departments where we were in charge of making sure the company made revenue. And when I say revenue, we're talking about big money. Billions of dollars, not just trying to hit your $100K or $1 million a year. You're in charge of really big things. And these strategizers, I could have even called them productizers if I could have named them that they are responsible for the P&L, frankly, of profit and loss of their business line. So let's say you have 3 offers. Those are 3 actual different lines of business that are making money. And part of the unicorn team is deciding, should we kill it? Is it being useful to be able to work towards something that we're serious about doing in the future? The strategizer's job is to have those conversations.
And to understand the priority, the sequence,
yes.
What's tactical, what's most relevant.
Yes.
Because the Visionizer would be like, let's do all of them.
Yes.
All at once. And the mobilizer says, absolutely not. I don't even want to do, maybe we'll do one. But the strategizer says, we need to do all of them in parallel. Here's the order. Here's why, so on and so forth.
We help the Visionizer understand the why. And we help the mobilizer not lose their mind by prioritizing what happens to happen first, second, and third without doing the tic-tacs, because strategizers are not, they need to be organized, but they're not organized.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Right.
So
that's fluid.
They're very fluid, and they understand what's happening in the market.
That part.
They're the seers of the market, where it's going, so we don't hit any roadblocks. So many of you who are watching, who are Visionizers, again, you've had to take on the strategizer role, which is totally normal. So that's good. It's fine. Now, what we want you to be thinking about is, if I hire, let's say, a marketing coach or a brand advisor or a strategist as a consultant even, how do I bring them into the company without messing stuff up? And that's why I said it's really hard to find a strategizer to be full-time in your business, to be honest with you, depending on the size of your company. But I hope this video helps you hire great consultants and advisors going into
and
it.
to know how to receive inputs from them and
Correct.
where it sorts in this magical hat of the unicorn team.
Ultimately, they're in charge of sales, marketing, and strategy for your company.
Yeah, and
the front end. Yeah, the front end.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I mean, that led into the second question, which was somebody said, I have a strategizer. I think I have a strategizer, these contractor roles. What should I make them responsible for in the business? Can we talk just a little bit about, when we did the Visionizer video, we talked about not over delegating, just being like, okay, that's the thing for you to do. What is the relationship between when delegating something to a strategizer, especially if they're not full-time and they're kind of fractional? Like, how do you navigate that a little bit?
Well, first of all, we have a system called the VSM meetings, and they are mandatory stand-up meetings between the V and the S and the M, all three of them, and then the V and the M. I know it sounds a little confusing, but come onto our campus.
Those are 4 different meetings.
Yes.
In case you're wondering.
Yes.
4 different meetings.
And you're like, I thought meetings are bad. That's also a lie on these streets. Ooh, I get so annoyed. How are you supposed to communicate just through documents?
That doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. We all know.
Or 90 million Slack messages.
90 million Slack. And again, you need those systems to keep track.
You do. I'm making fun, but
of the conversation. But
it can't hold the burden of all of that.
It can't replace the dialogue that's required to solve these both basic and complex problems that we're going to be facing inside of the business. So if there's any mandatory meetings, it's those for your business.
Yes.
And then those leaders manage the team.
Everything else.
Right?
Correct.
So back to your question, that's the format by which we're able to have that dialogue and force that dialogue. But just like in our company, we tell Visionizers you need to have strategic planning every quarter, right? And so the strategizer's role inside of it actually is to prepare a market evaluation. So bring data into the strategic planning process of what's happening in the market, how are current product lines performing. And they usually work with the mobilizer on this because the mobilizer has like the data to be able to say how they're really performing. And we have a forecast of where we think the product lines could go based on both intellect and intuition. Okay, so intellectually, I see the data, right? Intuitively, based on what I see in the market and knowing what our unique message and differentiators are as a company, this is where I think we need to go next. So we're kind of like the navigators, if you will, on the ship. Whereas like the mobilizer's job is to make sure that the engine's running on the ship, that it keeps going. And then the Visionizer typically not even on the ship. They're on the shore like drinking tea or some shit. Okay, that's what they doing. But point is,
they're dreaming of when the ship will arrive.
Yes.
And the spoils thereof.
Right, exactly. And I'm teasing because in our model, the Visionizer does work.
Right.
But they work on the right hard things, which is what we say.
Yes.
And our goal, a strategizer's main goal, is to find the tiny hinge that will open a big door.
Yeah.
We're looking for those little things because the mobilizers are usually in task mode and Visionizers are in dream mode. And we're looking for how can we make it easier to get a big win, right? And so even if you are hiring a strategizer in a consultant capacity, I hope you use this video to ask them questions like, how do you specifically contribute to make sure that we hit our goals? What expertise, methodologies do you have that will help us create that? How available are you to have interactive conversations between me, aka the Visionizer, and my head mobilizer? So
how confident do you feel that we'll hit the numbers?
Right,
I love that one for
because sometimes when consultants and contractors are hired, unfortunately, and I'm sad that this is true now, but sometimes they don't feel a part of your company. And so they give you what's in scope, which is fine because that is the legal thing they're required to give you. But you want somebody who, while they're working inside of your business, feels like an owner too, right?
Yeah.
We talk about, one thing we didn't mention in the mobilizer video, which I think would be good here, is because a strategizer a lot of times is a contract position in small business. That, including me, like you can hire me as your strategizer. You can hire Sarah as your mobilizer to come and consult. We onboard all of our contractors like we would a full-time employee on purpose. 100%. We orient them with our values, our mission, our vision. We orient them to how they can expect to be communicated to, what their specific key performance indicators that tells them that they're doing their job well. That all happens whether they are contractors or not. And I see this so many times with clients, like especially with strategizers. Strategies are expensive.
Yes.
They're expensive.
Yes.
And so the visionary is scared, like, oh my God, so if I do these Facebook ads, I don't do Facebook ads, by the way. I have a great mobilizer on our team that does the Facebook ads, but I work with them in conjunction with the strategy. And my point is that they are not part of our company as a W-2 employee, but they are integrated.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this mistake so much, like, well, that's out of scope for me, so I won't do that with you. If a strategizer or a mobilizer, any role says we don't need that because we don't need to be integrated, we just need you to tell us what you need us to do, they're not a good fit. They might be good at what they do, but if you want to build a unicorn team and a scalable brand, that's a discipline that you need inside of your business. Because strategizers, we're whip smart. We can talk you into anything too. And so there's going to be things that you don't understand are coming out of our mouth. And that therefore you want to make sure that you lean in and ask questions you'd be afraid to ask and know that they will tell you without being dick to you. That they will feel part of the conversation.
Right. And that they'll be excited to help the company hit
like
their
that they're
goals.
pumped
like
up.
That's what real strategizers do.
Yeah, that's what real strategizers do.
Yeah. Okay. So last question, someone said, well, I'm a Visionizer. Where do I find and train up a strategizer? I know this is a little bit more complex than others because strategizers can range the gambit, right?
Yes.
Consultants, funnel builders, media buyers, copywriters,
even brand aesthetics, set all that. That's a strategizer too. Like how to set up how your brand looks.
And
that's a strategy.
That's
so brand strategizer is definitely like runs the gamut of what a lot of people get confused about in brand and marketing. So how do you find your strategizer? The key is based on the strategic plan. What do you actually need next support in? So let's say you are doing a whole up level of your, now like you want to be known, you evolve. Like even for us, we evolved from teaching people the method, and we still teach it, but the method of how to build a brand on the front end. But now we're really seeing how we can be so helpful by showing them how to build a team that can build the front, the brand on the front end. That we've evolved our messaging, we've evolved our aesthetics in this realm. So for example, if we're like, hey, we want people to know about Unicorn Team. On our strategic plan, we know, hey, we're going to need these strategizer resources for this time period, right? Sometimes they're not forever. Sometimes they're for a perfect scope of works, but that's the key. You have to know what you need. And to know what you need a strat plan, strategic plan. And you need to interview strategizers. Because again, they're very smart. And a lot of times we get referrals, which is great. But every team works differently with certain people. There's a different vibe, energy, and culture fit. And like it might have worked great for another and doesn't work for you. By the way, that's happened with us. I'm just going to be completely transparent, meaning we may not be the best fit for everybody either. Like when we go in, because either the values and the vibe don't align, or we find out things that like we can't even push forward. We think we can because we think it's got it all together, but there's more work to do, and they don't have the patience to
or the skill set
to build it.
Quite honestly,
that's the honest truth. But it's okay because we know, hey, at some point it might work for us. But here we'll come in and we'll say these are the things that are not working. But that's my point with strategists. You have to interview them. Just don't take them at face value because they helped some influencer make $1 million last year. Okay, you have to interview them for your values, your vision, team fit, and skill and capability.
And can it tie back to where you're going with the vision?
Yeah, man. They need to be competent.
Yeah.
All of them need to be competent. Oh, Lord. Competency.
We should have a whole nother playlist about like horror stories.
We've seen a lot. Yes, we have.
We could tell.
If we didn't have NDAs, we'd be having a lot of fun right here.
So I think that there might be some Visionizers watching this who are like, oh my God, all that makes my head hurt. I'm not ready. What should I do? So if they're at that place where they're not even sure yet of what they need, or they're like, I don't know what a strategic plan is, I've just been winging it. What advice do you have to like a newbie Visionizer and how to approach this? Because I get it. It probably makes their head spin.
Marketing is hard.
It is.
And that's the thing is like, but we try to get good at it. And I will say this. So answering that question, I actually think it is good that you learn how to market. So if that's a course or you work in one of our programs like the Messenger Mastermind to develop a clear message and an
Yes.
offer and a brand
All those
voice,
things.
right?
Yep.
Because you need your message actually more than you need marketing, because marketing doesn't work unless the messaging is clear. So we have something for that. But I think it is important as a Visionizer that you learn that. I think it's important that your mobilizer takes the program.
Yes.
Because
that part.
then they can really
Amen.
go, oh, that's how you're thinking.
Yeah.
The key, newish Visionizer, if you're watching, is that you don't think you own that forever.
That part.
You're like, okay, I know enough to be dangerous, but I can't be in charge of marketing, or you will burn out, because it's not your first love. Well, your first love is whatever you're good at.
Yes. The reason why
It's
you got
not
into business to
marketing
begin
what
with.
you're good at.
Correct.
But you do need to know what happens on the innards of marketing to have good conversations with any strategizer you bring on board, and not delegate your entire marketing to them in a way that then pours all this money out of your pocket. It's a real important dance, and that's why these structures in Unicorn Team help put accountability around those conversations in a way that actually feels really nutritive and generative, not restrictive and micromanaging. You know what I mean? It feels like we all have something to do, and we all can be fabulous at doing it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I love that. Okay, so my favorite part of these rapid fire questions.
Haven't we been doing rapid fire now?
Ask the same questions. You're gonna get one line to respond, and then we'll close out for this video. Okay.
Okay.
What are common characteristics of a strategizer?
Super smart.
Oh. Yes. Okay. What are strategizers responsible for in the business?
Sales, marketing, and strategy.
And how does a Visionizer go about finding and training up a strategizer?
Make sure you understand what marketing is first, so that you can interview and create a job description for what you need next in the next 90 days when you hire strategizers.
I love it. All right, that's a wrap for this video. Be sure to check out the full playlist. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We will see you all very soon.
Bye.